I became a teacher because, well, when I was in high school, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to go to college. At the time I grew up, it was pretty typical for a girl to either become a nurse or a teacher. Didn't like body fluids and shots and things like that, so I thought, okay, I'll look into teaching. Also enjoyed being around children, babysitting. Spent a lot of time with kids. I'm from a big family, and so spent a lot of time around all ages of children. Knew I liked being with children and working with them, and so that's really kind of what led me in that direction. I also had good interaction with the teachers that I had in school, and admired most of them, still do. So I think that's kind of what led me in that direction. It was really more a matter of deciding what I wanted to teach. I was good in school at English and language arts, so that ended up being my major, and science was my minor. First trait from middle school teacher would be flexibility, and second trait that would be the most important would be patience. Middle school students are very unique in that you have your high school kids who are on the brink of adulthood, you have your elementary kids who are just basically out of the nest. But you have those two extremes. You have your elementary and your high school. Middle school is a big transition age, transition mentally, transition physically for them. They're going through a lot of changes. You have kids who have the maturity level of a high schooler and kids who have the maturity level of an elementary age child. And so you have to be able to keep all of those kids entertained and keep their attention and yet get the instruction across. Some of the research shows that in middle school, they actually, as they're going through such big growth leaps, physically and emotionally, they actually have their brain kind of do a shut off. And so you go through little time periods where they're not really getting a whole lot. But the challenge really is to keep them busy, keep them interested, keep them entertained, have a lot of flexibility in the way you deal with them, because every day is different. I would say middle school, for some kids, is kind of they're testing their independence, and so a lot of teachers find that they have difficulty with dealing with those students. They want to be accepted as a group, in the group, and they don't want to be singled out. So the way you deal with them is very different than how you deal with a high school or an elementary student. Elementary student, probably doesn't matter to single them out in class. With a middle school student, you single them out and it's like social suicide, and they may behave towards you in a way they wouldn't normally behave, just to challenge you. So it's all about how you handle each situation. I discovered very early on that if you had something to say to them and it wasn't pleasant, that you basically got everyone working, and then you asked them to meet you in the hall and shut the door, and that way the other students don't hear, they don't know what's going on. That way they don't feel like they're being singled out as being, you know, different than everyone else. My thought is, when people ask me, what do you do for a living? And I tell them that I teach school, and they ask me what grade, and I say 8th grade. The first thing out of their mouth is, I'm so sorry for you, as if it were some kind of a punishment. From the time I started my education to be a teacher, I knew that I wanted to teach middle school. I'm not sure why I knew that, but I did know that, and never even considered teaching high school. It just didn't appeal to me. I did teach elementary for a period of time, and that was a little too mom-like for me. I liked the fact that the middle school kids are somewhat independent, and they don't want to just, you know, have a second mom at school. But I do kind of serve as a mom for those kids that need a little extra guidance. I really, truly love middle school students, and that is why I teach middle school, and I really wouldn't change that now. And I know I temporarily went out of it for a couple years to teach elementary and thought I'll never go back to middle school, and when I got back I thought, what was I doing in elementary? That just really didn't suit me. Really, I am cut out to be a middle school teacher. And I would say the greatest reward is students coming back and letting me know what kind of an influence I had on them. Just had somebody stop by yesterday to see me who is going to go to medical school. I've had 2 or 3 different students come back in the last couple of years telling me they're going to medical school, which I'm very impressed by. And it's really good to hear that you've made a difference in their life. So I would say that's why I ended up a middle school teacher.